Good afternoon and welcome to our Foothills County Council meeting on Wednesday, April the 8th, 2026. Welcome to all who are viewing our live streaming meeting and to all who are in attendance. As Deputy Reeve, I am chairing this meeting today because Reeve Seward is away on business. And I will now call the meeting to order here at 12:30 p.m. So first matter up on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. So I'll look to one of our councillors to provide a motion to get that going. Councillor Estes moves us forward for adopting the agenda. All in favor? Thank you. That motion carries. First matter up from the action items is we have some gentlemen joining us here today from our department. So I will go to our councillors to see if you have any questions that you'd like to raise up in this session. I'll start with Councillor Kendall. Do you have anything that you'd like to bring forward?
Thank you, Madam Reeve. Is that how I address you, Madam Chair? Madam
Yes.
Chair. Thank you for all the hard work that the crews are doing on Old Mill Road to repair the bridge out there. I drove out there Monday morning, but nothing was really happening yet. But the email from Mr. Gallant indicated that things were going along smoothly and hopefully they were going to be reopening the bridge in the next day or two. Yeah, other than that, 762 had kind of an issue north of me, apparently. There was one section that had to kind of temporarily be shut down until Volkersteven got there with the pickle mix. It was so slippery. People could not make it up this little hill, apparently. And a moose was falling down and it was very, very slippery portions of 762. So thanks for everybody who attended to that. And yeah, looking forward to knowing that the bridge is repaired there, and looks like it's the repairs, if they're successful, are going to make it good for another 10 years. So thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Kendall. Over to you, Councillor Callister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nothing pressing from Division 6 this morning.
All right,
This
thank
afternoon.
you. Thank you. And Councillor Alger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair to Mr. Kruger, I've been contacted by the Oasis Golf Center, and they're concerned about the drainage issues in there from the lands to the south. And he sent me some kind of a study from Alberta Transportation that worked on the drainage. So I just want to let you know that I'm going to forward that to you. And I also mentioned that we were kind of poking our toe into looking about the whole town of DeWinton and that whole area. So this might be part and parcel of future conversations with that. So I will forward that to you as soon as I find it again. Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. And for my part, just to thank you to everybody, as I know was a skating rink there and some other major work on the snow issue. They've been off and on, and I had a concern that was addressed immediately when residents contacted me as well to get some help out in their neighborhood. So thanks to Public Works at that point, and then all the work that's going on. Thank you for that. Over to Councillor Estes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, Foothills County. Thank you guys for all the work you're doing. And I have nothing to report from Division 2.
All right, thanks. And over to you, Councillor McHugh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Foothills. Nothing to add to the conversation today. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Councillor McHugh. So we have some gentlemen joining us here from our departments, and I'm just going to check in with you if you have any updates for us. Director Kruger, do you have anything to share with Council?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, Council. Yeah, that bridge out by Square Breed Ranch on Monday, they were there. It was just a prep day, so just getting prepped to lift the concrete girders up. They worked through the snowstorm yesterday. Public Works Advisor Gallant was out there. He said it was quite unbelievable. It did not slow them down. Hoping for some good progress again today. Potentially have one lane open by tonight and get it mostly open tomorrow. And we'll be back in there next week to do some pile work underneath the bridge. But it should be wrapped up here quickly. And just want to thank Volker for the quick work, Bow Valley Bridge Services as well, and also Public Works Advisor Gallant for making this happen. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kendall, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Just a comment, just wanted to thank the owners of Maximum West as well for allowing the use of their internal bridge while the bridge was temporarily out. So many thanks to Maximum West for that courtesy.
Great, thanks for that. Over to you, Manager Porter. Do you have anything to share with council?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do. Good afternoon, Council. Just update and that to provide some clarity for Council. A few weeks ago, there was some discrepancies in some invoicing that was before Council for approval, and just to provide some explanation in that for the discrepancy in the invoices and the supporting documentation. The invoices were for to the High River Handy Bus for the Healthy Aging Transportation Pilot Project. The invoices and that are sent to Foothills County. We are the fiscal agent in that for the program on behalf of the Regional Transportation Project. It is a grant-based project, and under that, there's a daily flat rate charged of $493.50 whenever the service operates. Clients using the service pay a small user fee. These client payments are deducted from that flat daily rate, which results in the final invoice amount. The trip invoice sheets that were included in error in that. They're basically for to provide the name of the client, the destination, and the user fee for the healthy aging funding reporting. The cost breakdown is information that's used only for the handy bus, and the vehicle is being chartered for a full 9 hours. So example of this, and that is a flat daily rate of $493.50. The client co-payments collected were $19. The amount invoiced to the grant is $474.50. Why the trip sheet documents didn't match is the trip sheets total individual trips, which results in different dollar amount than what was invoiced. The invoice is not based on the trip totals, but is based on the daily flat rate less the client co-payments. So hopefully that brings some light and clarity. I know it's fairly murky. The one thing I will say is that when this was brought to light, there was no overpayment. We actually underpaid, and that by a very small amount. And that's so there was no overpayment on the authorization of these invoices. The next steps going forward, staff will work with the High River Handy Bus to update their invoicing to include pertinent information only and include a reconciliation statement so that the amounts are clear and easy to verify and understand. This approach will improve transparency and ensure invoices are clear and easily understood going forward. With that, I'd also like to thank Amanda Midgley in that she had just got back from holidays and this got thrown in her lap. So she graciously in that turned this around and got the information that council was looking for. So thank you.
Well, thanks for that explanation. Just wondering if any of our councillors require any further clarification. Thank you for that explanation. All right, and over to you, Director Sonia. Do you have any update for council?
Yeah, good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Council. Just a real quick fire risk status update. So we still remain at no fire restrictions in the county. Calgary Forestry still remains at low with no restrictions either. Rocky View has no restrictions. Willow Creek, none. Vulcan County is at a fire advisory. Wheatland County has no restrictions. And I just want to a reminder to residents out there about fire permits and burning. The fire permits are always required when open burning. And the permits are free of charge and available on the county webpage. And also residents can find further information on fire restrictions on the or through the county webpage and Alberta fire bans. And as always, we'll continue to monitor the fire risk in the county, and the status may be amended as necessary as conditions change. I'm also happy to report that Community Connect is now live for residents of Foothills County and is available to access on the county webpage. And a huge thank you to Alleged Services. This is a free and secure platform which allows residents to share important property information, access points, pets, hazards, and more, helping Foothills Fire Department respond more effectively during emergency. And as in the first afternoon alone, we've had more than 20 residents already signed up, and we expect participation to continue growing as the word spreads. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that update. And do you know which page that it is linked to? Is it the home page or is it in the emergency services page?
I believe that's on the homepage. Oh, emergency services page.
Sure.
It can be found under emergency services under fire. Yeah, it's one of the first menu items.
Thank you. I just want to know, and we can refer them to that page, but thank you very much. That's very helpful. And will there be also be some social media associated with that as well to help roll it all out? That would be great.
So if I may, Madam Chair, so they do have that Community Connect posted on the Foothills Fire Department Facebook page as well.
Great. Thanks for that. Good. I'm sure getting that out there will get a lot more uptake to the excellent resource that is. So thank you for that. Now just check in with council and administration. Do you have any question for our departments here before they go off to the rest of their day here? Any further questions? I'm not seeing any. So thank you guys for coming in and have a good afternoon. So council, we do have a 1:30, and so in advance of that, perhaps we can take care of some of the other matters. In advance of that, we have item D, and that is on page 23 of your agenda. If you wanted to switch to that page, and then I would call upon Director Hemingway to give us an explanation as to this item. It's the amendment to conditions for the Radoslav Blagojevic application here.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Reeve. This request before council is actually to add some more specificity to a condition the council did impose on March 11th, just less than a month ago. Council did grant first reading to bylaw 08/2026, authorizing the amendment of the country residential land use rules to allow for the future subdivision of 3 new parcels, leaving a balance of 5 acres, so 4 new parcels in total. This is in Councillor Alger's division. Council did approve the application and indicated that there would be a requirement for a contribution from the applicant to for a maintainable oil surface, I believe is the language, as part of their conditions of first reading. Public Works has done a review and has requested that a $15,000 contribution be requested of the applicant. And we have included that as a suggested amendment, a suggested condition for you under option 1 approval. The applicants are still required to pay the community sustainability fee and of course undertake any other necessary municipal and on-site improvements. Any questions? I'd be happy to answer.
This is Division 5. So Councillor Alger, would you like to start a discussion or look for a commentary from you there?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will. I read through this. I have no concerns. I spoke to the applicant last night and he is fine with this amount. And I was actually quite surprised at the amount. And but I'm not about to argue with Public Works if this is the number that they came up with, which was part of the condition between the applicant and Public Works. So I'm happy with that. And I'll give you the motion for option 1 approval.
Thank you. So it looks like it's clearly identified in the little paragraph there. So option 1 is on page 24. And just check in, is there any other commentary from other councillors or administration on this? Councillor Kendall, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is this kind of a normal amount or is this something unusual?
Please go ahead, Director Hemingway.
Sure. It really depends on the length of the road. It's just a short stretch of road. So I have regularly seen a $5,000 additional contribution necessary. That's a $5,000 per lot additional contribution. That would have been what I would have anticipated, but I believe that the Public Works Department looked at the actual road and it worked out to be the same as that $5,000 per lot additional contribution.
Any other questions? We do have a motion before us. Not seeing any, I will ask the question. All in favor? Thank you. So D1 is moved forward with option 1. Thank you, everyone. We do have a closed session item, so I would look for a motion to head over to that, and we'll deal with some of our other matters after the closed session. We may as well do that while we have our staff here for that. So I will ask our, just check in. Councillor Kendall, we do have to have a vote before we go into closed session, and then you can go ahead with that. We do need to go into closed session, so I'll need a vote from everybody, and then we can go ahead with the other matter there. So I'll take a motion from one of our councillors to go into closed session. Thank you. Councillor McHugh gives us that. All in favor? Thank you. Thank you and welcome back to our Foothills County Council meeting. We do have one motion arising out of closed session from item F2, and I'll go over to Councillor Kendall if you'd like to provide that motion, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that council authorize administration to enter into a 12-month broadband support services agreement with Tango Networks Incorporated for $22,680 and additional ad hoc support fees not to exceed $20,000.
Very good, thank you. Is there any discussion on that particular motion arising? I'm not seeing. All in favor? And motion is carried. Thank you very much. So at this time, we are preparing for a hearing at 1:30. So I will just ask that we take a break here and look forward to seeing you back right at 1:30. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome to our 1:30 hearing. Welcome to everybody who's attending. And I just make a note that I'm chairing the meeting today as Deputy Reeve because Reeve Seward is away on business. So just to let you know. And I would like to now open the hearing for Weston Northeast 13, 2204 west of the 5th Meridian for a redesignation application. Manager Barrett, would you please introduce council and administration?
Certainly, good afternoon. In council this afternoon, you have Councillor R.D. McHugh, Councillor Benita Estes, CAO Ryan Payne, Deputy Reeve Suzanne Old, Director of Planning Heather Hemingway, Councillor Alan Alter, Councillor John Callister, and Councillor Laura Kendall. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our hearing process will commence as follows. We'll first have a presentation from our Municipal Planning Officer, Teresa Chipchase, and then we'll go to you as applicants and your agent for your introductions, presentations, and comments. We'll then hear from anyone who has concerns or would like to express support regarding this application. You'll have just one opportunity to speak as guests who will be expressing concerns or support. And should you have any questions of the applicant, then they may choose to answer this in their closing remarks. During this process, council members and administration will be allowed to ask questions of anyone present. And finally, we will welcome closing comments from the applicant and then our municipal planner. So with that in mind, I will now ask our Municipal Planning Officer, Teresa Chipchase, would you please proceed?
Thank you, Madam or Deputy Reeve. Let me just, if I can grab the right one. It's even stranger. It does not want to let me swap the view so you can see the full screen. Let me try again. I don't know which one to try, that one, I guess. Sorry for that. So good afternoon, Madam Reeve or Deputy Reeve and Council. The application before you is from Mr. Doug Weston, represented by Ms. Christy Bunder of Township Planning and Design, Inc. This is a request to redesignate a portion of the property that's legally described as the northeast of 172204, west of 5, from agricultural district to country residential district to facilitate a future subdivision of the property. The parcel is within Division 4, located 6.5 kilometers south of Highway 22, 2.5 kilometers east of the Kananaskis Improvement District, 1 kilometer east of Highway 762, 125 meters east of 194th Avenue West, and is north and south of Fish Creek. The proposal asks council to consider redesignation of a portion of the applicant's property from agricultural district to country residential district in order to allow the future subdivision of one 8.78 acre lot shown here in orange, leaving a 150.22 acre agricultural district balance here in blue. Access to the new lot is proposed by the applicant to be provided by an approach to be constructed off the eastern end of the cul-de-sac for 194th Avenue West, here in red. The applicant would then construct an engineered driveway along the north boundary of the adjacent landowner's parcel, as identified here by the yellow line. From within a 30-meter wide acquisition of land that is registered on this adjacent title, as shown here in red. The applicant is further proposing to provide a 30-meter by 30-meter or 0.22 acre undeveloped road plan surveyed out of the northwest corner of the new lot here in green. The applicant's proposal would not provide the new lot or the adjacent lands with direct access to a developed county road. The county's Public Works Department recommends that the 30-meter acquisition area along the north boundary of the adjacent title be surveyed out at the developer's expense and 194th Avenue extended to the new lot through construction of a county standard road by the developer. Council will also have noted within their staff reports that the application as proposed makes no provisions for access to the balance of the quarter that is north of Fish Creek, east of the proposed new lot, without crossing the creek. Therefore, should the application be approved, accommodations for access to this portion of the parcel may be required. Access to the balance is to continue to be provided by an existing private easement, as shown here in yellow, over the adjacent property west of the developer, with an existing approach here in orange that has direct connection to Highway 762. This is the 30-meter wide acquisition of land facing north from within the adjacent landowner's parcel. This is between the developed portion of 194th Avenue West, which is here to the left, and the proposed new lot, which is here to the right. This is the locked gate that is currently located within the acquisition of land that is registered along the north boundary of the adjacent property, which belongs to the owner of the lands northeast of the proposed lot, who also access their property from the road acquisition area through the adjacent lands. Oops. And here facing east, this is the existing easement access to the applicant's yard site on what would be the balance of the parcel, which is over the adjacent landowner's parcel to the west of the developer. Here, with their direct access to Highway 762 for an approach that's located here to the left of the screen. The developer has proposed to provide water through connection of the new lot to the existing water treatment facility on the adjacent quarter to the west, extending the water line through the 30-meter wide acquisition of land on the adjacent property east of 194th Avenue into the new lot, as shown by the white dotted line on the map on the screen. The water treatment facility is currently zoned Direct Control District number 13. The discretionary uses within this district do not allow additional connections to this facility. Therefore, council has been provided options in their staff report should you choose to approve the application and should you choose to allow additional connection to this system. Those options are shown on the screen are to require the developer to apply for an amendment to the DC District number 13 to allow the additional connection, to consider the additional connection as a further use under the discretionary uses within DC 13, or to require the applicant to provide proof of water as per the county's municipal water policy. It is also to be noted that should council allow the additional water line connection and extension to that water line through the acquisition of land along the north boundary of the lands adjacent to the proposed lot to the west, that a utility right-of-way will need to be registered through the adjacent lands, which the developer will be responsible for providing. Taking a look at the physiography, the property is very diverse, consisting of a wide, low, flat valley bottom with a portion of Fish Creek through roughly the northern half, which includes a large meandering riparian area adjacent to the creek, covered in dense red willow and aquatic vegetation, as well as some areas of native grasses. The creek splits to have an east-west run and a north-south run through the quarter. Both are well-defined, with the north-south run being dammed and turned into a large and small pond east of the developer's yard site, with drainage directed to the pond at the northwest corner, with the pond also having an outlet off the southern end, allowing the north-south run to continue through its natural channel. There's also a portion of dense forest in the extreme southeastern corner of the quarter. The structures on the developer's lands consist of a residence, barn, hay shed, and horse shelters, and is surrounded by groves of aspen and spruce. For a visual of the features of the property, this is the proposed lot facing north. The adjacent landowner through which the access to the new lot is to be developed is here to the far left, along with 194th Avenue West. The slope to the north can be seen to the background, forming a small knoll in this location, along with a shallow drainage channel to the foreground. Facing southeast, this is the northwest corner of the proposed lot. We can see the rise to the north boundary to the left of the photo and the red willow through the flat, wide lands that are adjacent to the north side of Fish Creek, with the adjacent neighbor through which the driveway is to be constructed here to the right of the screen, along with 194th Avenue West. Facing east from the last slide, we can see the slope within this section of the proposed parcel, along with a small drainage run. The proposed lot is quite low to the south and the east and levels out to that wide valley bottom adjacent to Fish Creek, where there is substantial aquatic vegetation, as well as areas of dense red willow, which are also considered emergent plants, and they show up often in areas with consistently wet soil. Facing back west from the last photo, the small drainage run within the proposed lot is now here with the slight slope to the north here, and the low vast area of red willow and Fish Creek are to the south. While a good portion of the lowlands riparian to Fish Creek are to be considered as part of the building envelope for the proposed lot, the creek itself is proposed to be retained within the balance of the quarter, with a 30-meter wide setback proposed from the south boundary of the lot to the creek. The application was circulated in 2 issues of the Okotoks Western Wheel on March 25th and April 1st, 2026, and to area landowners within a half-mile of the application, with 1 letter received after submission of the staff report to council's agenda. The letter's been provided to the landowner's agent, staff, and council by the county's Legislative Services Department. Internally, the application was referred to the county's Public Works Department. Details of their recommendations are provided within their circulation referral section of the staff report. A synopsis of their recommendations requests council consider the following as conditions of a subdivision approval: a county standard road constructed through the acquisition on the adjacent parcel for extension of 194th Avenue and removal of the locked gate from within the acquisition on the adjacent neighbor's parcel. With respect to water, Public Works has provided that capacity is available should council agree to allow extension of and connection to the existing infrastructure. The construction of the water line extension is to be completed by the county's contractor at the developer's expense within a registered utility right-of-way. Public Works is also requesting high water table testing, septic disposal evaluation, building envelopes, which in addition to the county's standard setbacks, also employs the riparian setback matrix model or stepping back from the water document to determine setbacks that are appropriate for residential construction with respect to Fish Creek and the lands riparian to the creek. And further, lot grading and drainage plans are to be provided as a condition of development permit. And this would conclude my presentation. Deputy Reeve and Council, thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation and explanations on all of the issues related to this application. This time I'd look for any questions from our council members or administration. For myself, I certainly want to dive into the road, but I think it might be more appropriate that we hear from our applicants first, and then we can put all the information together and dive into that whole question of how we're going to solve that area. So at this time, I'll look to any other members from council for any questions for our planning officer. And I am not seeing anything. So at this time, I'd like to welcome our applicants and applicant's agent. And if you would please introduce yourselves for the recording secretary, and then please go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With me today are the landowners, Doug and Sue Weston. And I also have Robin Earhart with me from our firm, primarily because there has been a ton of information and reports and back and forth and conversation that she's been a lot more on top of than I have, because I chase squirrels for a living, and she actually does work. So I just brought her to support us. As Ms. Chipchase had mentioned, the purpose of this application seeks to create a 8.78 acre portion, essentially a first parcel out from the northeast of 17-22-4 west of the 5th. The redesignation will facilitate this first parcel out from a previously unsubdivided quarter, and the intent is to accommodate a newly created single detached dwelling. The subdivision creates a 150 acre balance. Subject site is located 1/4 section east of Highway 762 and at the terminus of 194th Avenue West. The proposed parcel integrates directly with the country residential development to the west. The proposed lot represents a logical continuation of the established subdivision pattern along 194th. The proposed site plan here shows the 878 acre parcel, and it illustrates a proposed access route extending from 194th Avenue West via an engineered driveway. The property lines of Lot 1 are a minimum of 30 meters from Fish Creek, and were determined by the riparian setback matrix model. So in that model, some of the highest markers are present here, and the highest setback is 30 meters under that matrix model. There is no ERE proposed, primarily because the balance is over 60 hectares. And the proposed plan ensures that the new parcel integrates with the existing country residential development while preserving the agricultural integrity of the remainder. As the Deputy Reeve has indicated, there's a bit of a history on the access and the approach, so I'd like to just take some time to go through that. In 1983, an easement, which was registration 831-196-270, was secured across the northwest of 17 for the landowners of the northeast of 17, which in this case are the Westons, and the southeast of 20, which was the Gottsleague lands, which are now Ron Russell, and you have a letter from Mr. Russell in your package. During the 2005 subdivision that created the lots on the northwest of 17, the 1983 easement was discharged, and in its place, the county registered a caveat for a 30-meter road dedication over the newly created Lot 7. The county did not exercise the caveat at the time and did not acquire the 30-meter portion of the road dedication. However, this transition removed the access for both the southeast and the northeast of 17 because the easement was discharged and not replaced with anything. In terms of the proposed access, legal access is proposed to be reestablished through the 30-meter caveat area on Lot 7 and also by registering a 30 by 30 road plan on the new parcel. We request that the county exercise the caveat on Lot 7 and acquire the land to provide the road plan for legal and physical access. Physical access to the proposed parcel and the southeast of 20 will be provided by upgrading the existing driveway to an engineered driveway standard in its existing location. We'd also request Lot 7 be subject to reduced setbacks. Council would consider that, but I really don't know what they're going to build on Lot 7 or when. In terms of Lot 7 and the engineered driveway, so I have this in my head as a developer constructed internal road, which means that the setback is 15 meters. If it's a municipal road, or a named road, it has to be 48, but in this case, it's an internal subdivision road, so I went with 15. The topography, the creek, and the 15-meter setback for requirement for Lot 7 make a municipal standard road rather impractical. The county's originally approved Lot 7's building envelope without accounting for that 30-meter wide north dedication along the north boundary. And so I've looked at the geotechnical report for Lot 7, and there was about 8 boreholes drilled, about a $50,000 geotechnical report to establish the building envelope on Lot 7, but it didn't account for setbacks. We are concerned that constructing that county standard road might reduce the available building envelope for Lot 7. We are also hoping that the private engineered driveway will ensure legal access and physical access for Lot 1 and the southeast of 20, while minimizing the environmental impact and maintaining the developable area on Lot 7. Just keep going. In terms of environmental mitigation, the proposed engineered driveway helps reduce the impact on the Fish Creek drainage corridor. The single required crossing over the northern intermittent drainage strategically utilizes an existing established culvert and will be a low impact approach, as the engineered driveway will only require crossing the intermittent stream once. In terms of its policy review, in accordance with the municipal development plan, the proposed lot configuration aligns with the MDP policies and objectives by directing additional subdivision to areas with existing country residential development. The proposed lot maintains the agricultural viability of the 150-acre balance, and it aligns with MDP policies that support the subdivision of a single parcel from a previously unsubdivided quarter section. In this case, we've minimized the land proposed to be redesignated, respected the existing context, and protected natural features through strategic design and setbacks. The north and south access to the Northeast 17 are by easement only, and the application proposed to resolve this by providing legal physical access on the northwest corner, which will benefit both the northeast and southeast. The MDP requires that all parcels have legal and physical access. The 2005 subdivision of the adjacent 7 lots and the removal of the easement across Lot 7 has led to the southeast of 20 and the northeast of 17 being without a registered legal access. We suggest that this application acts as a way to correct this issue by exercising the caveat and converting the 30-meter caveat area to a road plan and dedicating the 30 by 30 on the northeast of 17. Legal access can be restored to both the northeast 17 and the southeast of 20. This ensures physical access via a private engineered driveway, which does align with the MDP. In terms of access to the balance, this shows a slight revision if council wanted to consider it. Legal and physical access to the balance can be secured through that 30 by 30. This option here, shown, identifies a panhandle from the 30 by 30 for the balance of the quarter to satisfy physical access requirements. So as council can see, we pushed the property line proposed to the east by 30 meters and allowed for this 30-meter connection to the 30 by 30 road dedication, which provides direct physical and legal access to the northeast of 17. In terms of its policy, it is located in the Northwest District of the Growth Management Strategy. The Northwest District has been identified as an area that can accommodate medium or moderate, minimum to moderate growth, including country residential development, particularly where existing development and highway access already exists. The application maintains the area's rural character and strives to protect natural features. The proposed development aligns with the policies in the country residential district and the ag district sections of the land use bylaw. We check now to make sure that we don't have oversized buildings or setback issues, or there's nothing over what's allowed without a development permit. We've been doing quite a bit of that lately in terms of these applications, and everything checks out here. In terms of the topography and the proposed building site, we recognize that there is a unique topography and natural slopes present on the parcel. Considering the 8.78 acre size of the proposed lot, a suitable building envelope is achievable, potentially within that white dotted circle. So you can see off the 30 by 30, we've got a little bit of a white dotted circle that we felt would be a good building envelope area. We anticipated the requirement to complete a lot grading plan and additional studies. We can also conduct the RSMM, but I don't think the results change based on the metrics in that plan. We have included a view from point A here. So from point A is right across this building envelope site that we prefer. Just to give council some understanding of it, this was taken last fall, so it doesn't have a lot of snow cover. And here's just a couple of more site photos. So you can see that that road takes off quite a bit onto as it makes its way up to Mr. Russell's home. Photographs D are of the balance of the lot, and photograph C is looking over again the preferred building envelope, but a little bit more west. This one shows you a look directly back onto the driveway that's in place there, and it's our preference not to change that. I think Mr. Russell would not like that change. I think that Lot 7 would like to keep that as a driveway as it is, and Mr. and Mrs. Weston have no concerns with keeping it as an engineered driveway and dropping an approach off the end of it. As council may have noticed, we have a gate sitting right there on this property. Mrs. Chip Chase had a photograph of it. I think that with Lot 7, we want to be very careful to protect the building envelope that they have on that lot. The engineered driveway, I think, helps soften that. You have to, it just reduces speeds, it gives an understanding of transition, and it acts as a dead end in many ways. And then the southeast of 20, Mr. Russell wants to keep his gate and the legal access, and he wants to, get his legal access back because he did not realize that the easement had been discharged. The proposed 30 by 30 road plan will guarantee the legal right-of-way and the driveway, which can accommodate his gate. So the gate obviously is a trespass. It was put on property that Mr. Russell didn't own. I think it will have to be moved regardless, more appropriately on his own property. But at this point, he was really more concerned that his access be restored by way of whatever decision council makes with this application. In terms of water and septic, this is a little unusual for the county. We have a Foothills water treatment plant, the West Foothills water treatment plant, which forms part of the Fish Creek water system, is in this location. Water servicing is proposed to be provided via an extension to the existing 6-inch pipeline that currently terminates on Lot 7. In terms of the DC 13 provisos, 2 additional connections have already been approved without amending DC 13. One of those is the Southeast and Northeast 18, which is over here. And the other one is Lot 2, Block 2, Plan 05-12001 in the northwest of 17, which is over here. We would request that the same consistent implementation be considered here by council and that we not be required to amend the DC 13 to connect this lot to the system. The landowner has confirmation from the county that up to 2 additional connections have been approved, and this development will utilize one of those. Sanitary servicing would be provided through the on-site septic system. That's typically used. In conclusion, the proposed parcel is a logical extension of the existing residential development along 194th. The subdivision complies with the policies of the first parcel out and preserves the agricultural balance, respecting natural topography, and reestablishes legal and physical access to the parcel and to Mr. Russell's. An engineered driveway guarantees access for all properties while protecting the developable area of Lot 7. Water servicing can be sustainably secured through an approved connection with the West Foothills Water Treatment Plant, and the landowners are committed to completing the necessary technical assessments at the subdivision stage in support of this application. With that, Madam Chair, I'm just going to ask Mr. and Mrs. Weston if they have anything to add before we close. Anything?
Maybe through the chair, Doug Weston. I'd just like to say we've lived in the valley here for 50 years. I just made some notes, brand new notebook. 44 years we've owned the property, and it's that time where we have to retire. And we thought we've always liked that corner, a spot that we might want to build a place. And it's a kind of a retirement plan we've had. And like Christy said, once we started looking at access and easements and various things that needed to be looked at and corrected, we would sure like to get that fixed up first, of course, and we would just, the explanation that Christie's gone through, I think it's pretty obvious that it is a very special part of our area for sure, and we want to make sure it's looked after that way. And that's about all I have to say. Yeah,
Sue? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much for your presentation and your maps, which has helped. If you wouldn't mind leaving that one up, that would be great. So at this time, I wouldn't mind diving into, obviously, there's a few things such as the requirement for the water line and then the road. I wouldn't mind having a discussion with our planning department as well as perhaps Public Works and then yourselves in relation to the options for the road. And as we see, there is a acquisition registered over the north part of Lot 7, and wouldn't mind perhaps, would Director Hemingway, you'd like to enter discussion here, or should we invite our perhaps our engineering technologist if he's with us, or Director Kruger or our municipal advisor on so the question is really related to how do we solve the road? So we have 30-meter option here, and we see some constraints. One is the building envelope for Lot 7. The other is some terrain issues and some drainage next to the cul-de-sac. The other is the request from the applicants and the neighbors to retain a smaller footprint. Well, at the same time, Public Works has given us a recommendation to really do this in recognition of all those who need legal physical access off of this particular stretch of road, which has been measured to 127 meters long and approximately, as far as the land portion is concerned, not the road top, but the land portion is, as you see identified here, 30 meters wide. So I'm looking for ideas on solving this. So we do get legal physical access, but we also get a road that is consistent with that goal. Now, my question is, how do we achieve that with the requests we've received and with the recommendations from Public Works? So anyone who would like to comment would be appreciated. So Director Hemingway, would you like to start, or shall I go to perhaps the reasoning from Public Works? Might be good to hear from them as well. So engineering technologist Antle, would you like to provide your rationale for your recommendations to us in the staff report, which of course our planning officer, Chip Chase, has shared with us?
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Deputy Reeve. So the recommendation from Public Works for the surveyed out and municipal standard roadway is as a result, as you mentioned, of multiple properties accessing either by previously discharged easements or through the neighboring properties. So it would resolve those access concerns as well. There is concern with wiring that area without a municipal road being constructed. So the county acting on that acquisition without constructing the municipal road, that is.
So may I ask for clarification on who should be enacting this to do the survey out? We have asked that the applicants do that, and they're asking that we do that. So how do we come up with a solution on who does this?
Typically, the developer will be responsible to survey out as they are the proponent of the subdivision. However, if council did choose, we could take on the surveying out of the roadway.
Thank you. And so I'll ask Director Hemingway to add to that, and then maybe we can talk about the actual road itself and the widths and things like that. But let's go over to Director Hemingway for that question. Please go ahead.
No, if there's a motion of council to support the registration of that road plan, we can ask the developers to perform the survey, but the county does sign off for the registration at the land titles office. And that's only done if there, as I said, there's a motion of council to support that.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So that's something council will have to consider. And then in terms of the actual physical road, can you explain the difference between what we're looking at here now with a request from the applicants to go to an engineered road and 194th as it currently exists? Can you explain the difference in the surface width and the recognition of that being a standard that we're hoping to achieve? As I believe in the staff report, you had asked for a double chip seal on this particular road up to the area where the proposed cul-de-sac is to be located. So can you speak to the standard of 194 and the width, and then what we might be looking for achieving this stretch of road to be built on that future surveyed out section and registered road plan area?
Sure, no problem. Thank you for that, Deputy Reeve. So in terms of an engineered driveway, that would be a significantly narrower driving surface, a single lane versus a double lane, allowing two vehicles to sufficiently pass. Currently, 194th Avenue is double chip seal with a surface width of 7 meters. We'd be looking for that extension to be that same width, surfaced at the applicant's cost with that same double chip seal surface as well. The relocation of the existing cul-de-sac bulb to within what they've shown as a 30 by 30 meter road acquisition area. However, there is concern that the bulb may not fit within this area, so it may need to be enlarged to allow for a standard cul-de-sac with ditches to be accommodated in that area.
Well, thank you for that. So that helps us with our considerations. So if we were to achieve 7 meters wide, 30 is a lot wider than that. Would we have to go with a full 30 meter wide for what would be a future road plan? Or would we be able to go with a little narrower piece of land there if we were trying to still achieve 7 meters? So if we need proper ditches and things like that, do we need to keep this 30 meters, or are we able to go a little bit less than 30 meters wide?
Typically, we'd recommend the 30 meters to allow for flat bottom ditches, which do allow for better flow and as well as easier maintenance for the county. However, the county or council, sorry, could allow a narrower road right-of-way width should the engineering demonstrate that the required roadway and ditches could be constructed in, for example, a 20-meter right-of-way.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. So it looks like we have some interesting considerations on the road for now. So I'll leave it at that for further digestion and for other councillors to ask questions at this time. So Councillor McHugh, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair to the Development Authority, or someone who can speak to the history of this. So there was, my concern is the southeast of 20. So there was an easement in place. That easement was taken away. So the southeast 20 technically doesn't have legal access. So the easement, trying to understand the rationale for the easement being released, but the municipality taking a caveat. Trying to understand some rationale for what has transpired here and leaving a quarter without legal access.
Sure, please go ahead, Director Hemingway.
So it's over 20 years ago, and I hadn't prepared for that question. So please consider those two issues. I believe the original application for the 7 lots proposed a future road dedication area out to the east. And so that was registered as such. Whether there was an easement partially discharged may have occurred, but the only way you can discharge an easement, the only means to discharge an easement is the signature of the benefiting or servient dominant party. The dominant party has to sign the easement. So what happened there, I don't know. Like I said, it's over 20 years ago, but I believe that the future road dedication caveat was always part of the original application to illustrate a connection with the internal subdivision road with the lands to the east. I don't recall having any discussions with the landowner in the southeast of 20 at that point in time, or if there was an easement across that land or how he was involved at all. But if there was an easement, he would have had, the owner at that time would have had to sign off on its discharge, as that's the only way you can discharge an easement agreement.
Do you have a follow-up on that? You're okay?
Sure. Sorry.
Go
thanks.
ahead if it's a follow-up and then we'll go to Councillor Alger.
Okay, thanks. So then the remaining caveat by the municipality in the event of discourse here could leaves an out for the southeast of 20 in the event of conflict if there is no road, or?
I don't believe the southeast of 20 was contemplated at all. I don't recall that it was. The intention of the 30-meter future road dedication area across the north end of Lot 7 was to allow for that internal subdivision road to extend east to provide access to the proposed lot and the proposed quarter section. And because it's at the north boundary, it could effectively provide access to the southeast of 20. So a public standard road, a public road constructed to municipal standards was available to be constructed to access both quarter sections should it be desired. But I don't recall any conversations with the owner of the southeast of 7 or southeast of 20 at the time.
Okay, over to you, Councillor Alger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll go back to our engineering technologist, if I may, Mr. Anil, as opposed to a bulb at the end, if we went with the 15-meter engineered driveway, would a hammerhead turnaround be more appropriate in that area, as we're only accessing 2 residences? It seems like a cul-de-sac is or a bulb is quite a bit of work.
Thank you for that, Councillor Alger. Absolutely, a hammerhead could be engineered at that location, allowing access to southeast of 20 and the proposed lot. However, the remaining concern would be the access to the balance north of Fish Creek. So there would be 3 properties total accessing.
3, yeah. Okay, thanks for that.
No problem.
Thank you. And then we did see a proposed redraw where the parcel was slid over that would achieve that both balance and the new lot. So solving this is very important because not only this lot and the balance would be benefiting from this in the future, but also the parcels to the north, should they choose to do a first parcel out in the future. There is no other access to that southeast 20, which has been the subject of some discussion. And then potentially the other southwest of 20 could access elsewhere, but it could also access off of this stretch. It's just a matter of where the future, which we don't know what that is, but the solving of this would benefit a lot of the direct neighbor residents, including Lot 7, who has a vested interest in this being solved. So therefore, the many questions on that. So I appreciate your diving into details here on this. So I just wonder, so you've heard some discussion now, maybe I'll go back over to our applicant's agent, Agent Bunder. Do you have any further thoughts hearing our discussion? Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I think further to Councillor McHugh's question, from what we could tell in terms of the research, the easement was only supposed to be partially discharged when Lot 7 was completed, but it was removed in its entirety. It was just, I think, a clerical error. Unfortunately, it's now followed us to today. We'll take council's direction on anything that they would like to consider here. This revision, Mr. and Mrs. Weston are happy with. I think the concern, though, is given that intermittent drainage comes right off the end of that cul-de-sac bulb, Lot 7 and Mr. Russell are using that driveway, and Mr. and Mrs. Weston would use it as well for their home on that lot. We would like an engineered driveway only because of the light footprint that we want to see in there to respect this area. I think the cul-de-sac bulb puts a lot of onus on the new lot, the new first parcel out, and reduces its building envelope significantly. The cul-de-sac bulb where it is will allow for school bus turnaround and is designed as such. We don't think there's a mechanism in place to reabsorb that cul-de-sac bulb into lot 6. I don't think that was planned. So we're just trying to find a happy medium for the site, the access provisions, and the affected parties. And for us, this was the way to go. And I know that Public Works wasn't happy about that. But the standard can't fit all parcels in all places. And this is, I think, one of those examples where it can't. I don't think I have much else to add on that particular issue, Madam Chair.
So just one last thought is, have you had a discussion with the owners to the north about widening the road to the north versus the south? Has there been any discussion about that? I know it would be a bit complex, but it might achieve a wider surface. As we were recommended the 7-meter wide top, it doesn't mean it can't slightly veer to the north slightly in order to achieve that. Has there been any discussion about achieving that through, you go ahead and
Just
take.
going to try to understand the question. So are you suggesting that this 30 go half north, half south on the quarter
Well,
line?
it seems to be the tension is with the south and lot 7 having their access and their setback to have a proper building site. But if it was moved slightly to the north, can we even do it? And is it achievable if there is an amenable partner with the landowner to the north? I don't know the answer to that. And I'm just saying that's just a thought.
I don't know the answer either. We have talked with Mr. Russell. There's correspondence with Lot 7 owner, but we never thought to push that road north. It wasn't our expectation that council would make that suggestion. So we certainly, if council suggests that's a way, we can certainly contact that landowner if you want to table this to see if they would be interested in allowing that. They obviously have a municipal road on the full side of their quarter and don't really need to give up anything. That's always part of the conversation. What am I getting and what's in it for me? In this point, he doesn't, that quarter section has the benefit of an entirely single-sided cul-de-sac bulb road on the majority of its south side. So people are pretty much are lots of times unwilling to give land up for whatever reason. I think it's even tougher when it's for access.
Yes, and I appreciate that very much, as this is just an idea. And the other thought that came to mind during a lot of discussion is that there might be a future potential first parcel out of those properties as well. So with that in mind, there might be some benefit, and that's why that was even coming to the radar. So maybe I'll just explore that a bit with, we have our engineering technologist with us here today as well. So perhaps engineering technologist Antle, having heard that last little discussion, is there any comments you may provide on that? Would that achieve the 30 meters if it was to go slightly to the north? And again, this is just an idea.
Thank you, Deputy Reeve. Sure. The opportunity to explore to the north there with land coming from the neighboring parcel would need to be demonstrated with appropriate engineering that the road could be constructed through that area. There is the drainage course as mentioned, which is concerned either in its current location or shifted north.
Very good. Thank you for those comments. Director Hemingway, please go ahead.
I wanted to just point out the concern with respect to developing lots off registered road plans that are not constructed to municipal standards. The county is responsible and liable for providing access to lands where the roads have been registered. So that's the reason why Public Works is suggesting that a developed municipal road be created as opposed to a private driveway. And there is this very strange gray area as this is a future road dedication caveat. There is no easement, so the only way that the Westons can access the cul-de-sac is through registration of that road plan to make it be a public road plan, whether it's 20 meters or 30 meters, whether it's all on lot 7 or to the north on the other lot. That's the only viable way to access the new lot, as well as Mr. Russell's parcel on the quarter to the north. But without the development of a standard municipal road, the impact will be that at some point the county will be required to construct that road, as we've allowed it to be registered and we haven't required it to be constructed to our standards. So if it doesn't hold up, we will be responsible for ensuring that access is provided.
Thank you, Director Hemingway. And can you further explain the maintenance and the plowing of said engineered road? Would that be a private solution only?
Yeah, I think if the county doesn't consider the road accepted as a public road, we don't have the responsibility for maintenance. But we still have the liability for it. So that's not a good place to be. When you have no responsibility, you have the responsibility for it, the liability for it. You've allowed it to be registered. You've created new lots that access off it, but you don't have to maintain it. It actually doesn't benefit you in the long run.
All right, thank you for exploring that. So, so we have a lot of food for thought on the road. I wouldn't mind diving into a couple of other issues that were raised. And one is the requirement for us to amend the Direct Control 13. Is that absolutely necessary, or can we do as we've done with other extensions of the water pipeline? Can we allow this lot to be served without the amendment to the Direct Control 13? And perhaps our municipal advisor could answer that question.
Yes, Madam Chair. With respect to extension of the water lines, of course, the county acquired the water treatment plant from the Westons, and there is an agreement in place, and that agreement allows for these lands to be serviced because they were owned by the Westons. And the other two parcels that have been serviced were owned by the Westons, and they're within the agreement. I will accept blame for not recognizing that there was this zoning on the water treatment plant, and I just became aware of it, or maybe I forgot all about it, but we certainly wouldn't pay any attention to it. It's a, it's a public works parcel. We should have, I don't think it's Weston's responsibility to rezone it. I think it's ours, either as a PUL or just remove the DC 13, and I don't know if there's another appropriate zoning that's in place. So really it comes down to when we purchased the property, that step was not taken. It needs to be, but within our agreement purchase, these lands were given the ability to be serviced. So I would say that, to me, looks towards the county to fix that situation with the direct control district. The other I would mention, when we look at the road, when we put if this is approved and a pipeline is extended to the new lot, we will need that pipeline to either be in our road right of way or within a utility right of way. So we would need access through there to do any kind of maintenance or repairs on the road, and up to a curb stop that would be put at property line of the new lot.
Thank you for that. And I guess that led to my next question, which was, where was the pipeline for water going to be located? So it would be on the south side of the, I guess I don't know where the curb stop or where it is currently. There was, it was alluded to already that there is a 6-inch pipe that comes to lot 7. Do we know where that is approximately?
Yes, we know the location.
Well, you
of the
would,
pipe.
but you maybe can tell us where it is.
Well, it's, I don't know, just how far, east it was taken onto lot 7, but, probably Mr. Weston knows, but, anyway, I would have to ask our utility operators as to where the curb stop is on lot 7.
Sure. And if you happen to know that, I wouldn't mind knowing where it is. That would be great.
Would you like us to point that out?
Yeah, if you don't mind
Yeah.
pointing it out, I'm just curious because we're talking road and we're talking extending that water service.
Is that currently?
Yeah, through the chair here, the curb stop is at the cul-de-sac, and it, in fact, when we did tie in to the building site, there's an 1.5 inch pipe that runs right over to the middle of the building site in lot 7. And we did that because at the time, there was a great deal of concern about the sensitivity of that area. And a good question would be is, why is the cul-de-sac where it is? Because that's, it was sensitive for a turnaround further east. And it was decided that that would be the best spot where it is. So I answered more than maybe I needed, but the cul-de-sac, that is where the.
And so where do you see the extension of the water pipeline going to serve the proposed lot in your quarter section?
It would go straight east.
So it would come from the cul-de-sac?
Yep.
From
Yeah,
the
where-
6? And
Where
then,
it's actually at, no.
okay. I just wanted to clarify that location is it's part of the mix.
Yeah, it's actually very close. It goes straight about right. There you got your.
Okay.
It just runs straight east there, just about 30 meters from the road there.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. So looking to other counselors, Counselor Kendall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a couple of questions for the applicant. Is that is the turnaround used very much to your knowledge?
Through the chair, yes. It's a very good turnaround, very high quality. A lot of trucks turn around there. So
Because of the water treatment plant, or just like I noticed there doesn't seem to be, there's only one house built on those subdivisions there. Is that correct? Or am I not seeing this right?
yeah.
Through the chair, perhaps I can answer that. No, there is not very much traffic on that cul-de-sac. The trucks that go to the water treatment plant turn around at the water treatment plant because they back in, fill up, and then they just go straight out. There is very little traffic that goes there. It just services the southeast of 20 occasionally, and nobody else goes there.
Okay. And is there just one lot of those 7 developed? Like I just see one house there.
There are 2.
There are 2 houses. Okay.
And I believe there are plans for another one this year.
But they're all sold.
Oh, yes. They were
Yeah.
sold right away.
Okay. Mr. Weston said that he has owned that property for 44 years. So I just wondered, question to the applicant, if he had any knowledge of the erroneously discharged easement issue.
Thank you very much for that question. Yes. When Fish Creek Ranch, which was a company that was owned by Mr. Weston, when it developed the northwest of 17, it was advised that the access agreement that formerly went across the northwest of 17 and gave access to both the southeast of 20 and the northeast of 17 would have to be removed in order for the registrations to take place. But that wasn't to be a concern because the county would register a caveat across the lands to make sure that the access was maintained. Unfortunately, the access that was registered was not in the form of an easement. It was registered in the form of a caveat for future road.
Okay. Just had another question about your easement to the south. Because I was just curious why that was an easement if that was Mr. Weston's property as well.
It's because Mr. Weston owned the entire property. And he owned the northwest of 17 and he owns the northeast of 17. So he put in a road that went from the northeast of 17 to the northwest of 17. And then when the reservoir was created and the land was created for the house that's already there, then there was a requirement to put in access easement to reach Highway 762.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I might just dive into another request from our planning department in regards to, and you spoke to it already, somewhat to say, so if you don't mind putting up your site plan, which indicates the new move to the east version, thank you very much. So what was requested here is that there be a revised site plan with identifying building envelopes and then also paying attention to either the riparian setback matrix model or the province is stepping back. And you did make a comment about that already. So I'm just wondering if you can repeat that to say that you feel that there won't be a significant indifference to that.
Yeah. So if you look at the markers and the way that the riparian matrix model setback works, if you have a slope, your setback usually is the height of the slope. In this case, though, it's a gradual slope. It's not a defined slope or a cliff face against a creek. We have a slope down to the creek. In that case, then you use the bed and shore as the marker, and we went 30 meters, which is the highest setback achievable from a bed and shore under the riparian setback matrix model. And I believe cows and fish and stepping back have 30 as the max in most instances. However, we felt that if council wasn't satisfied with that answer, we would have no concern in undertaking the riparian setback matrix model formally for you, if that settles your concerns.
Thank you. And then from from your presentation and your description, it sounds like your building site is as close to the top left if you can achieve that. So it's as far back as you can possibly make it. And for whatever buildings, if it's to be CR or CRA, you would obviously be aware of the limitations to placing any other structures in those locations.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I don't see us asking for CRA, but perhaps that might be another opportunity for looking at that. Unless I've missed that there. Thank you.
I do have a question for the director, if I may. I know it's unusual.
If you want to do it in the form of an answer, for sure.
Okay. I was wondering if at all possible, an access right-of-way could be registered over the caveat area instead of exercising the caveat, as well as a utility right-of-way, which would allow for the extension of the engineered driveway on the access right-of-way, would allow for Mr. Russell to retain his access and potentially his gate, and then would also allow Mr. and Mrs. Western to extend the pipe that's required to the lot. It just would allow for the access right away over the 30 meters and over the 30 by 30. We've used this in the past, so I'm thinking potentially if we could get lot 7 to agree to the access right of way, that would be beneficial for all parties, and they don't have to fret as much about the caveat being exercised and a full municipal road being constructed in there, just as an option. I'm not sure what the director might think of that.
There, I'll ask for your comments on that, please, Director Hemingway.
Absolutely. If the county allowed for access by way of easement agreement and Mr. and Mrs. Hughes, the owner of Lot 7, allowed for the registration of an access right-of-way and a utility right-of-way or portion of utility right-of-way, then that absolutely could be done. And then that would meet the requirements in our land use bylaw for access.
And may I further ask, then, of course, that would not be a county road. And then therefore, I'm just wondering about setbacks and other things that have to be achieved. If you wouldn't mind commenting on any of that. Anyone?
Okay, so on Lot 7, as long as the future road dedication caveat of 30 meters is registered along that northern boundary, the landowners are obligated to treat that like it's a road. So they have to be 15 meters away from that caveated area. And so that, there is the ability to apply for a relaxation of setbacks, but that is the requirement in the land use bylaw. So 15 meters on all property lines is necessary.
And the same would be for the new proposed lot. So you still have to achieve 15 meters from that one as well.
Yes, unless there is some kind of future road dedication area in that little corner in the northwest, that 30 by 30, in each case, it's 15 meters away from that. So anything that's identified as road, registered as road, or caveated as road would create an additional setback.
So was I understanding you correctly in the sense that you were suggesting just the corner 30 by 30, or were you suggesting that it would go and go to and extend on the northern part of the new proposed lot? You were just suggesting that corner?
Yeah, no, just to clarify the corner.
Just the corner. Oh, okay.
So the
that
access easement
corresponds.
would go over the existing caveated area and that 30 by 30, just to make sure that it's entirely treated the same.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks for sharing all these different options. So I'll just check one more time for questions and then I'll go to any guests that we may have as well here. Is there any other questions? Oh, I have one from our municipal advisor, Reva Cameron. Please go ahead.
Sorry to wade in on this one, but so presently the legal access to the northwest quarter is that road right-of-way caveat. So the access to the house is on an easement, but that isn't legal access. So if, right now, if there was any issues with the easement, which there hasn't been, but if there were, then they could come in from the northwest corner of the northwest. That's their legal access. So if this proposed lot cuts off that area shown on this plan, then that quarter does not have access to a legal right-of-way. So I think, that's something to consider through this whole process as well.
Thank you for raising that point. Thank you. Okay, not seeing any other questions at this time. You'll have more opportunity in the future. Can I just check in that do we have present with us currently Mr. Hughes? Is Mr. Hughes online? So Mr. Hughes, at this time, we would like to invite you for presenting your comments to those present. So you'd have your counsel, you have the applicant, and you have our planning staff as well. So if you could unmute and please provide any comments that you'd like to share. You've heard a lot of comments about your property, so I'd love to hear your comments.
Yes, can you hear me?
I think we're hearing you. Just let's check that again. Assistant
Okay,
Stanley, can you just verify that?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm not sure if you can go a little closer to your microphone. I'm hearing you, but it's very faint.
Okay, I'll see if I can do something about the volume.
That's helping a bit. You must have come in a bit there, so.
Is that better? Okay. I guess I've learned a few things in this session that I need to give some consideration to. I mean, our position is obviously we want to work with the other landowners to get whatever appropriate access they require. I guess in terms of, and I appreciate the Weston's consideration of the impact of a county road on the developable area of our lot, but if I'm understanding even the caveat and the setback requirements, that's not going to change under either option, if I've understood that correctly. So I'm not really sure where that takes me at the moment. I have to give this some thought, but either way, we will be happy to work with everybody to kind of arrive at whatever the best solution is.
Very good, thank you. So just wondering, Director Hemingway, do you have any things that you'd like to address with Lot 7? I'm not sure if there's any need for us to go any further. We certainly wanted to consider the effect of the 30-meter right-of-way on your building site. And then one of the other things that was raised was potentially relaxing the setbacks to the road itself. I think that was raised in a couple of conversations. Is that potentially a solution as well? How would we achieve that?
That would have to be an application made by Mr. Hughes on the basis of, looking to construct a residence on the parcel and wanting to identify a building location that did not meet the municipal setbacks.
Would that be a development permit Would that be through the building process?
No,
Is he-
development permit. He's
Okay.
CRA, so he would need a
He's
development
CRA.
permit just to build.
Okay.
And then if he wishes to amend the setback requirement, he would have to do that as part of that process.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm just wondering if you had anything else that you wanted to mention to us, Mr. Hughes, before we go back to our further consideration from our applicants here, as this is your only chance to speak.
Yes. No, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. And thanks for your willingness to participate today. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Okay, just checking with you, Assistant Stanley. Was there anyone else present? Thank you. So not seeing any other guests present, we would just go back to our applicants for any closing remarks, and then we'll head over to our planning officer as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Mr. Hughes and Mr. Russell as they've been supremely accommodating to all of our questions. And as Mr. Hughes said, they've been really neighborly and really just want to work with us to get the appropriate access done. I think given the site, its topography, the drainage, all the things, the preferred option is to not construct that road. Certainly, I think Mr. and Mrs. Weston support the revision that we showed with the 30 going south from the 30 by 30, just to provide a little more flexibility to that end. I'd hope that it doesn't trigger road construction by doing so. I do believe that we can more than likely accommodate an access right-of-way and a utility right-of-way on the caveat lands instead of having to exercise that caveat, which would then protect the municipality from maintenance and liability, which is always a concern for the county. So that is the way that we would like to go forward, understanding that it isn't standard, but it is not a one-size-fit-all area, I don't believe here. I think the application makes sense outside of all the other considerations. I don't know, Doug and Sue, anything else you wanted to add in closing? I think you got an opportunity, Doug. Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Very good. Thank you. And I'll check in with our counselors. Any other questions for the applicants? I'm not seeing, and so we'll go to closing remarks from Planning Officer Chip Chase.
I have nothing further, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you. So one last call to everybody. Any questions for applicants or planning officer? Okay, I'm just gonna check one more time through my little list here and just see if there's anything else here. Oh, I did have one in relation to the engineered driveway. Is there any approvals required through Alberta Environment and Protected Areas? Is there any approvals on that?
I'm actually going to, we would have to look and make sure that that culvert has an approval to be there. It would require a crossing under the act. That is something we would check through the engineered driveway process. I don't know if you remember Rectal and Smith, Mrs. Chip Chase, but we had a culvert there too, and we engineered the driveway for the drainage. That worked very well. So we've done this in a few places. I can think of 3 where we've done this, not like 20, but it has worked.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And maybe a last question for our planning officer is, do we have an example that you can share with council of something that was similar to this with a request for an engineered driveway? And this might be yourself or Director Hemingway or any of our other perhaps Public Works. Is there a situation here where you can give us a direct example of this type of a request? Where we have a 30-meter, but they're requesting an engineered driveway instead of that?
We've had a number of applications that have engineered driveways for sure. Klotz was one of them, the Klotz application. Ball, Ball's not an application of mine. So Klotz is one that I remember requiring an engineered driveway. That was up in 2103, I believe. Gosh, off the top of my head, I can't think of them, but we do have a number of them in the county.
Okay, very good. Thanks for bringing those forward. I just had, those are my last questions. And I'll check in one last time before closing hearing. Not seeing anything. So at this time, I will close the hearing. And should you wish to view council's deliberations, you can certainly stay in the gallery to observe our discussion, which will likely be happening right after this. And anybody online who's observing can watch the live streaming meeting to see the conclusion of our discussions. And also additionally, there will be official minutes within a week that will be sent. They will be ratified next week. And that's it for the technical, and just thank you very much to everybody for your attendance today and supplying your application for our consideration. Have a great rest of your day. So council, at this time, let's take just a couple of minutes here. Let's take about 5, and then we'll come out of this. We have to get out of this Zoom meeting, and then we'll reconvene. Welcome back to our Foothills County meeting. We are now going to enter discussions about our C1 1:30 p.m. hearing in regards to our decision making. So council, I'd like to hear from you, your thoughts on this. This is in Division 4, so I would just state that I'm in sort of support of a first parcel out here. I do think we have to solve the access issue. Aside from that, I appreciate the offer to move the lot over into the east portion so we could achieve access to the balance parcel for actual physical legal access as well as for the lot itself, likely not to be used, but certainly achieves what we're looking for achieving access. However, the way in which we build the road out is certainly going to be a matter for discussion, but I just wanted to state to start with that I believe they'll be able to find a building site that according to all the setbacks and recognition of the specific soil and vegetation requirements and achieving that, I believe they'll be able to handle that. Plus at subdivision, they'll have to do a number of tests in order to decide whether they do or don't have a basement similar to the other lots in the area. So there's going to be a likelihood of achieving that. And perhaps we might consider CRA as well, as I don't know if I missed it, but it may be there and I'm just not seeing it. Planning Officer Chip Chase, did we mention CRA somewhere and I've just missed it?
Under option 1 approval.
It's under option 1 and CRA is listed there. Okay, because first thing I did was dive into water. Oh, you did say sub-district A. There it is right here in the second paragraph. Okay, excellent. Thank you. And then I'm thinking we don't need to dive into in option 1 the lengthy water conditions due to the explanation from our municipal advisor, Reba Cambrin, that we don't need to amend, that the county can do the amendment thereof in order to achieve water pipeline access. So we might talk about how that might change. Perhaps Director Hemingway, can you answer that one? And then we'll go over to Councillor McKee.
On the bottom of page 11 on your staff report under option 1, there's 1A, B, and C for your consideration regarding the option conditions. And I would suggest we're going to do option B.
B? Okay.
Which is just council just does it.
Okay. And so we just X out A and X out C because that's proof of water. Okay. So we're going with B. Okay, very good. If we're moving forward, of course, I want to hear from other councillors as well. So head over to next, Councillor McHugh. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I just want to open with the motion to refuse. We just spent an hour and 40 minutes discussing all the reasons why this shouldn't happen. No access, no legal, sensitive area. Even if we solve the access easement in this corner, the development on this corner is still gains access by easement. A first parcel out is not a given, and the original intent of a first parcel out is for agricultural producers to get their homestead out, not to create a separate parcel with inadequate access on a creek to that is further complicated by a water line, right-of-ways, and easements. So yeah, the West Country is a little bit complicated. We have some unusual easement access agreements. I find the 30 by 30 leaving access into the balance of the quarter. If this legal access was solved, that access immediately leads you into the creek. You have an access going into a riparian area once you get past the development. There's been no discussion about the residence that's on the north end that exists by easement right away and is actually up on high ground. And I find little to no merit, and I don't understand why we would be jumping through hoops to try to put this parcel in an inappropriate place with inadequate access. And as noted by all the discussion, sensitive area, all the discussion points to the inappropriateness of this development. Thanks.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the table for refusal. So I would look for any other commentary from other council members in terms of your opinions or thoughts on this application. Would you like some time to think this over? How much time? Yes. Councillor Alger, please go ahead.
Sure, I'll weigh in. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm agreeing with some of Mr. McHugh's comments. I would have preferred to see the access to the balance on the north edge of the quarter, on the north side of the quarter. On the west side going south, when I'm looking at my ortho map, the 30-meter runs right into kind of a pond area that extends from Mr. Hughes's land and then east. So I don't, even though there's a 30-meter right away there, I don't see access to the balance from there. So that's my only issue. I don't have an issue with the first parcel out or the location within the quarter. Just the only issue I have is the access to the balance. Thank you.
Thank you. Look forward to any other comments from other councillors. Councillor Kendall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, easements are a problem, and I would concur that this is sort of weighted down by that factor as well.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Estes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I just, again, I agree with Councillor McHugh. It just seems to be a lot of issues with road, wetland. We never even touched on septic. So those are my opinions.
Thank you for your comments. And anyone who hasn't commented or wants a repeat comment? Not seeing that. Oh, we have Councillor Kendall, another comment. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just going to say too, just the compromised position for lot 7, even though he's amenable, it does kind of, I mean, I just don't think that's fair to him either. So even though he is cooperating, but sometimes hindsight is 20/20.
Thank you for your comments. And I'm not seeing anybody wishing to speak. Last call. So I will call the question, and the motion before us is, let's just go to the page here. Page 13, option 2, refusal. So I would ask the question, all in favor of refusal? All opposed to refusal? Councillor Callister, which do you want to vote for? I'm going to ask you for your specific vote. Did you vote in favor of refusal or in favor or not in favor of refusal? Do you need more time? I could just pause on that if you need more time.
Yeah, I just had one comment. The setback to the balance of the parcel is not in the option. I'm just trying to read through it here. So that doesn't necessarily include the setback to the balance of the parcel that would go across the creek there. Is that correct?
Director Hemingway, could you try to answer?
I'm not sure I understand, sir.
So
In the setback to the balance of the parcel, the revised site plan that shifted
right.
the parcel.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I mean, if council wishes to approve it, they can indicate that they are accepting of the revision provided at the public hearing, which indicated a shift in the location of the proposed parcel.
And the balance of the parcel could be accessed from the south.
Well, the balance of the parcel has an easement across the parcel to the west already that has an access. I'm not sure if that shift of the proposed parcel will actually provide actual developable access to the balance north of the creek.
Right.
But I haven't been on the land, so it would be critical to really see that component. But if council wishes to support or grant first reading on the rezoning of the land and requiring and supporting that revised site plan as proposed, that's certainly your ability to do. But it needs a motion.
Okay.
Thank
Ugh.
So I'm going to recall the question, and we didn't have one counselor vote, and I just want to give you a chance to consider, and then we'll restate our results. So just let me know if you need a little more time. Fine with that if you need a little time. Okay, so the question is on page 13, option 2, refusal. And I would ask for the vote in favor of the refusal. For all those in favor of refusing the application, please vote. That would be 4. And all those opposed, that would be 2. So the application has been refused. Thank you, everybody, for your consideration. It's definitely was a lot of information to process, and I appreciate your thoughtful consideration. Thank you. Thank you, Council. So we're going to switch our thought process over to a couple of other matters that are yet on our agenda. If you're able to do that switch of thinking here. Perhaps we can start with the minutes. Would somebody like to provide the motion or any comments about minutes? I did review them and I didn't see any edits. I'm wondering if anyone else reviewed and maybe they'd like to make a motion or provide any comments. So Councillor Callister is providing the motion for minutes. All in favor of minutes? Okay, that motion carries. The next matter we have is the accounts, and I believe everyone has had a review. I see there was the 3 signatures on there, so thank you for everybody's time to do that. And I wonder if there's any questions regarding the April 8th, 2026 minutes, or if somebody is willing to provide a motion if there's no concerns. Sorry, accounts. That would be accounts, yes. Thank you. And I don't see any other questions on accounts, so ask the question on accounts. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure we haven't missed anything and we are good to go. So we do have an additional closed session we need to do, but we also have our committee report. So I'm just, actually there was one item we might deal with under letter H. And we did receive some information about an upcoming event, SAEWA, standing for Southern Alberta Energy from, can anyone read that word? Waste Association. So what it is a long-standing investigation into alternative waste disposal. And it's been going for many years, and it looks like it's continuing under Tom Grant, which is, I believe, Vulcan County, no, town of Vulcan. And there are numerous communities that are still investigating it. So we did receive information that there is a meeting on April the 14th, and it is, I believe, in Coaldale. So I'm wondering if there is any interest, perhaps from what I understand is at one time, the Foothills Regional Services Commission was a part of or was interested in this particular project. So I'm wondering if I was to go over to Councillor Estes, if you may have a comment on this or have any interest to participate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And yes, I have read through some of the information that's been provided, and I would be interested in attending to see what is planned, funds, and that sort of thing, and bring back some information.
Very good. And you can report to us and to your commission.
Thank you. Just one request. Do we have any background information as to when we were a part of it and what things we're looking
You
at?
want to
So
speak
I
to
have
that,
some.
CAO Payne?
Yeah, if I may, Madam Chair, our landfill manager, Mr. Angevine, has replied to an email. I just asked him for a little bit of context in our involvement with SIWA in the past. He indicated that about 12 years ago, the commission, so the landfill commission itself, was a member of this organization for a period of about 2 years. They were quite involved in a project that was studying the conversion of waste to energy. Many studies completed and a lot of discussion, but there was no real movement or action. So the commission at that time withdrew from their membership with the organization and did ask that the organization come forward with a business case if they wanted to take things any further. Mr. Angevine's indicated he's reached out to them over the years, and there's really been no one pursuing that business case any further. Looks to me like maybe something's starting up again, so it's really not a bad idea for Councillor Estes in her capacity as a member on the Landfill Commission to perhaps just attend the meeting, be a conduit back to the commission and to council to share some information as to whether things are starting up again or maybe there's an altogether different project that they've been working on.
Thank you, CAO Payne. Is there any other commentary? Otherwise, I would take a motion if someone would provide that to support Councillor Estes to attend this meeting. Councillor Kendall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would give you that motion.
Thank
I
you.
would attend too, but I'm busy going to the weird Okotoks seminar.
Oh, that's right. And you're going to help us with an understanding from
I
that
am.
event as well.
I know you do.
Thank you. Then we're very much interested to see what your report will be on that. Thank you. So we do have a motion from Councillor Kendall, and I would look to you now and ask the question. All in favor? Thank you. So we will look forward to hearing your latest update on what's happening there. Very good. So we have taken care of that, and now we have our committee reports. So I would go through our councillors first, and we'll do whatever is in open session here. Starting with, let's start with Councillor McHugh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think all I had was the intensive livestock working group. And wow, what a conversation. So I was just on the phone. I was not in attendance, so I don't remember all the people's names, and I missed the site tour, but lots of discussion about the urban residential divide and how it's affects in the effects in Foothills, and I guess I would say potentially makes confined feeding operations a little bit more difficult in Foothills, a little bit of things we have to consider. The working group actually opened with, consideration and the need for and our MDP for a confined feeding operation is supposed to have 160 acres. And the working group was suggesting that needs to be smaller. So where am I going here? A big part of this discussion was kind of looking at our MDP and how we do our review and how we accommodate confined feeding operations in the future. One of their suggestions was that we perhaps need to consider allowing for smaller acreages for confined feeding operations, which really stirred on the conversation of how do you keep a buffer between residential and agriculture. Lots of other councils there, so I'm sure they can add to this conversation. Lots of conversation around feedlots, of course, and where does industrial begin and when does agricultural end and when does industrial start? just a fascinating kind of discussion and lots of different perspectives. And yeah, wow, great talk. I'll stop there and let others contribute. Thank you, Madam
Thank you.
Chair.
And that was through Ex Services Board too, right? That was your committee that, and then it opened up to counselors. So I just want to
Yes.
say that is totally one of your committees, official committees. So thank you for your explanation on that. Sounds very interesting. Thank you. And over to Councillor Estes next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I too also attended the Stock Talks and yes, quite interesting. I guess I looked at it in a bit of a different perspective as a bit of a sales. And yeah, the integration of feedlots within the county and buffers and how do you deal with the neighbors. I think further to that, I think, other agricultural operations and their acceptance of possible confined feeding operations and again, the definition and where you go from a cow operation or any livestock operation to an industrial. So there was lots that came out of it, lots to think about. And yeah, lots. I'll leave it at that.
Sure, thanks for sharing. And for my part, I have no official committees, but I have spent in a lot of time on fire board requirements. And so certainly looking forward to some upcoming things that are going on in that area. But I'll move over then to Councillor Alger. Was there anything you had to report on?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had no committees last week. Thank you.
Thank you. And over to you, Councillor Callister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no committees last week either.
Thank you. And over to you, Councillor Kendall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On Thursday, April 2nd, I had a Zoom call for a special meeting for cemeteries. So I think most of it was it was just to do with some contracts, I think mostly. It was nothing too earth-shattering, just establishing some contracts. They are looking for another board member, just so you know. It's very interesting. You always think cemeteries, but no, give cemeteries board a chance. It's really good. I'm enjoying it. It's very interesting. On the 6th, it's not an official committee, but I attended my local Square Butte ladies group. It is my ambition in life to become a Square Butte lady. I will probably never get to their high bar, but it is my aspiration because both my grandmothers actually started the Square Butte ladies and my mom was involved. So, but the bar is very high. And so all I can do is kind of participate in a very rudimentary way, but I go anyways. So, and you all will be purchasing raffle tickets for the quilt as well. Just so you know, that is obligatory. So just so you know, I'll be passing them around every day for the next 6 months.
And if we can think of any special qualification suggestions that we may have for you, we will help with that.
You need a letter from council to recommend me so I can become an official member. As of now, I'm just sort of an adjunct. But anyways, they are I would like to just give a shout out to the Square Butte ladies. They are an amazing group. They do bake sales at the farmer's market. They make this quilt every year and they sell tickets and they donate so much money to causes. It's just a lovely, lovely example of community spirit that has lasted decades now. And, so shout out to the Square Butte ladies, and anybody that's interested can come to the recipe exchange. We're opening this up on May the 4th. So for any of you who would like to, get a few recipes in your repertoire, you're welcome to come. That was just the lighter note until I get into the intensive livestock working group, which I really, really enjoyed yesterday. It was, yeah, as counselors already indicated, very great discussion. I learned a lot about what's going on. And yeah, Melody, the chair from the executive director there, she did a great job. Really enjoyed the tour of the poultry operation southwest of Diamond Valley as well, a long-term family operation that, yeah. So, but I agree, they just kind of pointed out that with the 160 acre requirement, and now we allow all these first parcel out, so maybe you just have 150 acres. That's something that we might consider changing. Anyways, that was all I had for this week.
Very good. Thank you for your report. Over to Manager Barrett. Did you have anything to share with council today?
No, nothing for me today. Thank you.
Thank you. And Director Hemingway?
Certainly not a committee report, but we certainly had looked at the CFO and ILO components of the municipal development plan over the years when we're responding and to applications at the NRCB, and the NRCB sort of laughs at our requirements. So we were actually contemplating making it much harder to get an ILO or a CFO in the county based on our lack of ability to stop them when we don't want them there. And because our municipal development plan policies aren't functioning, or they're not being taken at face value from the NRCB, who is the authority on these regulations. So we were looking at revising those through the municipal development plan review, as you're aware, and our contemplation was to make them stronger.
Go ahead.
And just as a little adjunct to that, Melody said, knowing, and Reeve Seward brought up that we are reviewing our MDP. She said she will be watching it closely because she's interested. So
wonderful. Over to you, Councillor McHugh, and then Councillor Estes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to the chair, just to acknowledge that discussion was kind of had yesterday on the fact that the municipalities will make their points, and then it would seem that it's overlooked by the NRCB, and then the knock-on consequences of a provincial jurisdiction allowing for something to happen, and then basically then you can have development permit situations that occur as a result that we really can't curb. So that discussion was had yesterday. So the group acknowledged that they kind of had heard some things that they hadn't heard other municipalities to our uniqueness and closeness to Calgary and large residential component, and that it was a little bit difficult because there was a lot of examples from the municipality named County of Lethbridge. So lots of ag down there. It was commented that they're revamping their dollar charge. I hope I got this right, on the cows. So they have a road use. How the heck did it exactly? They have a service charge on animals for road use down there. And anyway, the system it was described as not quite working, and that they are working on revamping it. But that was one method that they were discussing on getting road improvements and looking at establishing haul routes to lower the impact on municipal roads. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Over to you, Councillor Estes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just to add to that, yeah, it was discussed that when a confined feeding operation is presented in the NRCB, the county puts in its issues with it. Objections, objections that they're somewhat disregarded, having read them firsthand. So it was also mentioned that perhaps the NRCB come and have a discussion with us so we can openly ask them some questions about that. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Those are great points. Thank you, guys. That's good that you attended that. And Councillor Kendall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just another note that came up, just because, we're always discussing roads and how much they cost us and repairs. And I know it's maybe not, it's not a fact, but it was brought up as a suggestion. I think it was from Tabor, they said, that making the trucks slow down rather than just reduce their loads. So just something to consider. It's not a fact, it's not evidence by any means, but it was just something that I had personally never heard before. So just so you know, it's out there and not everybody probably agrees with it as a solution, but to protect our roads and save some money, I don't know, just saying, it's worth maybe a little experiment on. We could just experiment on a certain road and say, hey, let's just make the trucks go slow, and just see if it has any impact. I know you can't do a double blind study. It's not that easy. It's not that conclusive, but we could do it on Counselor from Division 7 because he's constantly on the road with heavy loads.
So we do have a few opinions coming up here. Counselor Estes.
Yes, I also did hear that mentioned, and yeah, I don't know if it really, I guess maybe doing a test to see it would definitely be worthwhile, but I just having had some experience with previous road building and, well, not here, but elsewhere, it's the weight, and I don't know, it's the weight of and how the road is built and everything that goes underneath it. So
Thank you. And perhaps Counselor McHugh has a solution.
Well, I might speak in favor of the notion. I did have to calm down the resident rocket ship driver in my family of 21 years of age and say, hey, this is a 1998 1-ton, maybe slow down for the holes. So there might be some merit to it.
Be some merit, yes, for that aspect. But it's good that you guys are creative thinking and you're taking other suggestions and maybe we'll try them out. So thank you guys for your thoughts on all of those. And being that we're done with our open CAO, Payne, did you have any open that you wanted to share with us, or are they closed?
No, the only open one I had was the SAEWA, and that's already been brought up.
Okay.
On the slow moving vehicles, the only thing that crossed my mind is if it's an already destroyed road, you probably destroy it more or less by going slow because you're rolling over bumps and potholes that may be created versus a heavy load flying down a road. Probably the impact on the corners of those wrecked portions of road are worse. So just a logical idea that came to mind that maybe on an already destroyed road, that logic works. I don't know on a perfectly flat, good road, whether it would make a difference. I guess we'd have to test it.
Depends if it's soft or not. And it just sinks right in when you slow her down.
well,
we all have opinions and we might have to do science on it. Counselor Kendall.
We do have lots of roads in the county to experiment on. So next time we can't afford to repair a road, which might happen, we might go, I'm just saying.
Slow it down. We do have a road suggested for the slower speed limit. So we have all kinds of options just flying away here. So thank you for that. So since we seem to be done our more open session, we can try one more time as we come out. But in terms of the next step is I'd like to get a motion to go into closed session. We do have a few items there. Councillor Estes gives us the motion to go into closed session. All in favor? We are moved into closed session. Thank you. We have just emerged from our closed session on April the 8th, and we're at about 3:49. And the last matter on our agenda is just to mention to you that our next meeting is on April the 15th at 9 a.m. So that would be next Wednesday. And I would look for a motion to adjourn at 3:49. That would come from Councillor Alger. All in favor? Thank you, and hope you all have a good rest of your day.